Hamnet stars Jessie Buckley and Paul Mescal. It comes in on the tomato meter at 86%, 93 by the audience. So a lot of people like this film, and with just cause, because it's got some great acting by Jessie Buckley there. If you saw the trailers for this, you saw that she was going to be pretty much like the showcase of this movie. And it's set with the backdrop of Paul Mescal playing Shakespeare, Hamlet. It makes sense, right? No. Let's go over to the IMDb and see what they say for the official synopsis. After losing their son Hamnet to plague, Agnes and William Shakespeare grapple with grief in the 16th century England. A healer, Agnes must find strength to care for her surviving children while processing her devastating loss. And yeah, this movie's horrific, and there's some big losses in here. And the standout from that part has to be the children here, because you see where Shakespeare was getting his influences from, like the witches that always appear, right, in Hamlet or Macbeth. They're always hanging around, right? And you see where those influences come from in this story. And I was just totally blown away by the fact that they never even call him Shakespeare until like the very end of the film. It's like we're just dealing with this family, and we're dealing with the tragedy of, okay, well, he's got to go off and write because that's what he's meant to do. That's his true passion. But you're wanting to have him back with his family because that's what we are supposed to do. So it's taken from that point of view of the family must come first, but he's always off at work. He's always off doing these things. And when we do get to see him on the stage and directing and stuff like that, I found like all of that stuff was riveting to see the Globe and see what like it would have been like in that era. And my impressions just after coming out of this is just like, I heard some people didn't like this. Why? Is it the pacing? Is it the framing? There is some very static framing of the cinematography where it's just like, okay, here's your two actors. We're going to put the frame like this right in the middle, and they're just going to play out the scene. And I think it was trying to do that to emulate the feeling of the stage, that you were trying to watch them on the stage, right? And yeah, there's some tragedy, there's some loss that they both go through here. And yeah, this is the kind of shot that I'm talking about. This is the kind of thing where this whole scene plays out, and this very much could be like a stage scene. And it's just them in front of the camera. Everything is in the middle, right? And I'm just left at the end of this going, this is a good film. This is a really good film. Now, does it suffer a little bit from the runtime? Perhaps. 2 hours and 5 minutes. But by the time you figure out where this is going and how they're working in a lot of the inspirations of Shakespeare, right? Like, how did he arrive at this point? You realize, okay, no, this is neat. And it's not bashing you over the head with it or anything. It's kind of like he's in turmoil, and then he starts working in his head dialogue that you eventually hear later on in Hamlet. So it's like, oh, wow, this is just fantastic. And then by the end of it, you're feeling that raw, visceral sadness that they both feel from the loss of one of their kids, right? So just overall, thumbs up. I'm just really surprised by this. Let's go over to my score sheet here and start filling out some numbers for Hamnet. Acting, directing, and story are out of a possible 2 points. Cinematography and score are out of 1 point. Acting-wise, Emily Watson is also in this, and she's fantastic. The rest of the cast is fantastic in this. So I'm going to give it a full 2 points for the acting, because Jessie Buckley and Paul Mescal do carry this more on Jessie Buckley's shoulders. But I like the nods to nature and stuff like that. And, you know, the different perspectives of how to deal with medicine. I appreciated that kind of stuff. So the directing, Chloe Zhao. Uh, let's just say that the cinematography may bother some people because it's not the typical type of cinematic experience that you would expect from a film like this. As I said, a lot of it is locked to static shots of just a room and then the actors inside, which is fine by me. There's not a lot of sweeping around and crane shots and all that kind of stuff. It's very static, and I think that was intentional. So the technical aspects of this was handled fairly well. The color palette I liked a lot of. It was emulating a lot of what you see there in the poster. She was like the splash of red, and everything else was like this green and gray, brownish kind of color palette. And oh, they have the hawk there, the falcon or whatever on the poster too. That's cool. You'll know what I'm talking about when you see that movie. when it's just awesome. So I would say that the execution of the story is fairly well handled as well. So I'm going to bump it up to 1.5, and I may even bump that up to 2. But I still think that it does warrant a little bit more scrutiny as we talk about the story here. It's not your traditional 3 acts, I don't think. I haven't had time to quite digest it. It's possible that this was 5 acts. And it wouldn't shock me because that's Shakespeare, right? He always wrote in 5 acts. I'm just trying to think about where the segments are in the movie here. And just doing that on the fly, I can't think about that right now. But like, I thought this was great. I thought it was really well done. And the story does come full circle at the end. Everybody feels the proper emotions that they should. Like there's some anger there at the end when she sees that. I'm thinking about her performance and just the things that you have to go through. You're feeling anguish because your husband's making these plays, but he's also expressing himself through these plays. And then when you finally see and understand what he's doing, that's what's really happening in this movie, right? It's coming to the understanding that they both love each other and they both feel that loss. Wow, I'm getting emotional just thinking about it. It's just wow. Story. I'm going to give it a full 2 points. Why not? Yeah, because it was that moving. Cinematography. As I said, it's not going to work for a lot of people, but I'm going to give it a full point because I understand what they were trying to do with it, and it worked for me. Now the score. I'm trying to think back. There's nothing really significant in there. I would say that is serviceable for the most part of the film. So we're sitting at 7 out of 10 right now for Hamnet. Let's go back to the tomato meter here and see what some of the critics and audience members are saying to see if we can reconcile our score. So we're sitting at 7 out of 10, and we haven't done the watchability factor, so it's probably going to be up there, 8.59 for me. So I'm going to be in the ballpark of everybody else here. It seems like there's a consensus here, critics' consensus. Breaking hearts and mending them in one fell swoop. Hamnet speculates on the inspiration behind Shakespeare's masterpiece with palpable emotional force thanks to Jessie Buckley and Paul Mescal's astonishing performances. Yes, audience says a haunting journey through deep sorrow, beautifully captured by Chloe Zhao. Hamnet will utterly crush you. Yeah, and you just saw. I was just trying to explain some of the story to you. It does crush you, for sure. So critics here, it wants to devastate you without depressing you. That's what this movie is going for, and it absolutely achieves it. Yeah, it does achieve it. B+ by AV Club says, the uncertain and the undeniable come together in a stunning final act of communication that feels more like communion. Interesting. Audience reviews. Script was very well written, which the actors were able to convey in words and small movements. Scenery was beautiful. Yeah, because they do a great job of showing nature. She's out in nature a lot, right? And as I said, the falcon or the hawk or whatever, I don't know the difference between the two birds, I'm sorry. But it was majestic. Melissa D says, the movie was intense, dramatic, and sad, so somewhat dark. The end, though, is somewhat upbeat. I don't know if it was really upbeat, but it comes to a close. This story has a great closure at the end, and it's moving for 100%. Let's go to some of the critics here and see if we can get any acclaimed critics here. Richard Krause says, intimate and raw, Hamnet is an open wound, a profound portrait of heartache that is as uncompromising as it is emotionally involved in its depiction of a mother's loss of a child. Yeah. You're dealing with that loss. And I didn't know that going in, so that loss, as I said, it really hit me. And what happens in it, like how it happens, requires a little bit of a suspension of disbelief, but you're like, it's just a stroke of the brush that if you accept it, you can understand it and be like, okay, we're just going to roll with this, and it's really effective. I felt. Christy Lemire says, the craft on display alone is enough to bring a tear to your eye, and it does. This one's going to stick with me. This is a movie that kind of sticks with you. So as you see, for the most part, a lot of people are liking this film, Hamnet, and I'm going to have to echo it as well because just of the fantastic performances. So going back to my score sheet for Hamnet, the watchability factors out of a possible 2 points. If you saw the trailers and you liked what you saw, it's definitely worth seeing in the theater, for sure. It's late here. I'm late to the party for this, and I apologize for that. But this is also another movie that, if it was on the screen again, I would watch it simply for the performances. It's not something that you want to sit down on a nice, happy day and say, oh, I want to watch this and, feel good at the end of the day. It's not like that. But it's just a well-crafted and executed movie on multiple levels of directing, acting, storytelling. And Paul Mescal shows you that he's got an extra gear in him. Like if you were worried after Gladiator 2, and I was generous on that movie, no, he's got it. He's got it. And 8.5 is what I'm thinking. But I'm going to actually bump it up to a full 9 because I would be happy to have this in my catalog as well. I liked, even though that sad things were happening in this movie, it still made you appreciate the life that you have and makes you want to just find your loved ones and hug them. And it's just that kind of a movie. So 9 out of 10 for Hamnet. What did you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. Are there any more dwelling thoughts in this? The supporting cast was great. I gotta give this shout out to Joe Alwyn. He plays the brother for Jessie Buckley in this, and I was looking at him, and I was like, guys, they're shopping around looking at other potentials for a new Bond, and I would say, yeah, why not this guy? There's just something about him when you see him on the screen. He's Obi-Wan Kenobi-ish, right? And when they were redoing the Bond movies, like with Craig, right? You just want somebody who looks totally different, and he's got a different shaped face kind of thing, but he's also got that sleekness to him that I think he could pull it off. I don't know. I'm just ranting now. But what do you guys think about Hamnet? Let me know in the comments below, and we will talk about it. You're watching Mirror Domain. Mirror Domains.